Wow, another MMO beta? So soon? This is the third one this month. None of them are New World. Huh. They said MMOs were dead. Hey, it's Too Many Riffs again. We're in the beta of the weekend this time for Swords of Legends Online, another new MMO scheduled to release this summer. We're going to do a little series starting today about this game, as it is pretty unique, while also being similar to everyone else. Does that make sense? We'll get to it soon, I promise. So let's get started. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want more Sword of Legends Online content, and let's go. First of all, yes, we're going to call it solo from now on. Swords of Legends Online is a little bit clunky as a title. So, solo is an MMO. I understand the irony there. But the name comes from a series of Chinese TV shows and games that came out beginning in 2014. So yes, solo is Chinese, which is pretty different as well. This is the second Chinese MMO I've ever played. First being Age of Wushu. Swords is developed by a company I'm going to be honest and say I'm not even going to try pronouncing, but here in the West it's published by Gameforged, a German company that has a bunch of small MMOs and the rights to Terra and Aeon in Europe. They're the first red flag here, cause pay to win has kind of followed them. And let's get that out of the way right now. Solo is a buy to play title. $40 US gets you in the door here. After that, there's a cash shop, but it's all cosmetics and mounts. I will add these are all account-wide purchases. So you buy the item and all the characters you have get the item. Unless it's for female or male-only items. Because some of these items are gender-specific. They've promised not to ruin the game with pay-to-win. And currently they have a really fair monetization model here. It's whether a year or two from now things start to devolve if the game loses its players. Obviously, we can't tell the future, but currently Gameforge is doing good here. You may have heard gender-locked items and cringed a little bit. No, there are no gender-locked classes. None. It's another great thing, because gender locking is terrible. There's also no race-locked classes, because there's only one race. Yep, I hope you like humans. For classes, there are 6. Reaper, Spellsword, Berserker, Spearmaster, Bard, and Summoner. Each one of these has 2 paths they can go. For example, the Bard, Reaper, and Summoner can DPS or heal. This brings me to the next thing. Yes, the Holy Trinity exists in abundance here. Combat is kind of a hybrid. What do I mean by that? Well, you can do both action and tab target. Seriously, all you gotta do is hit a control, and you can swap between the 2 modes. It's a little weird and a little bit to get used to. Every so often you might hit that button on accident, but it is a neat idea that I appreciate. Swords is also a very story-heavy MMO, in kind of like a Final Fantasy XIV-like way. There are lots of cutscenes and dialogue. If you're into that, great, but it is skippable if you don't like it. There are also lots of dungeons and PvP modes, and the dungeons have 4 difficulties. There's a lot of PvE. There's a lot of things for PvE players to like here, which is one of the biggest differences from most Eastern MMOs. It's very PvE-centric, like a Final Fantasy XIV. Actually, it's the game I'd say it's the most like. Gearing is also more Western than Eastern. There's no RNG enhancement system. Heck, there's very little RNG here at all. It's a breath of fresh air. It's nice to see come from the East. Though these things are what makes Solo so weird to me. It's a mashup of Eastern and Western ideas, done in a very player-friendly way. I'll have to get used to this. Another thing to get used to is the UI, which you'd expect for an Eastern MMO. Information everywhere. It's cluttered as hell and it takes a while to get used to, but in my 6 hours so far I've played, this is the worst thing I've encountered. And it's not absolutely terrible, because you can customize it, so it makes it a little less ugly. There are also a lot of things to like out here. There are a lot of small things already out of the box here to like in the beta. Partial controller support, lots of keybind options, collections, achievements, an interesting pet system, and a wardrobe system to rival WoW's transmog system. Seriously, this does feel well polished for a beta. Speaking of polish, there are a few things here that need a little bit more of it. The voiceovers are still all in Chinese. There are subtitles, but at times they move a little bit too fast, so it's a little bit hard to follow the story. The tutorial text doesn't seem to be able to be turned off or even moved, so that's a nuisance. And if you want to play with friends, it uses a channel system like a lot of Eastern MMOs, but it's not very straightforward to find how to move between said channels. It's a slash command. Other than the VO, they're all small issues, and even the VO isn't totally terrible. I just hope there is an English option to put in soon. As for graphics, this game is stunning. Personally, I love the art style, and the world is gorgeous. Everything is so beautiful, which makes that cluttered UI a little bit more annoying. I want to see all the pretty, not the UI. This game stutters a bit. It's not optimized perfectly here. I hope between now and launch they iron this out a little bit more, as optimization matters a ton. Please, Gameforge. But all that said, this game seems to be a gem so far. All its issues are either small or easily fixed before launch, and it's got enough going to it to make some of these things, like the VO being currently in all Chinese, a non-issue to me. Color me surprised. I expected something good, and so far Swords of Legends Online is great. I've really been enjoying my time here, which is exciting to say the least. But that's all for my first impressions video. There's totally going to be more Swords of Legends Online content on my channel in the future, so don't forget to smack that sub button if you want to see more. I also stream on Twitch. It's where I make the footage you saw in this video, so if you want to talk solo or just games in general, there's a link down in the description below. That's it for me though. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.